Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jesse, your DM.
Cody playing Lazarus.
Brennan playing Dis.
Mike playing Nim.
Britt playing Kenna.
And we are Double Doubles and Dragons. We're a group of goofy Canadians that have gotten together to play a little D&D. Sometimes we will say things that are inoffensive. We mean them as jokes, of course, and they're certainly funny to us, but some people may find this offensive. If you do, we apologize, but we don't want any hate mail about it. So just don't listen, okay? Let's jump right into the action. Welcome back, guys. So, we're going to go over some stuff that happened last session and a couple of other things, but we'll hit some of the key main points right off the bat. Everybody except Kenna has inspiration right now from the last one. Still, same question as always. If anybody can give me any reason Kenna should have an inspiration, I'm more than willing to give it out.
The reason would be that she,
It didn't use the good looks to just, get all up on Wallace.
That is true.
That's very Kenna, and she could have exploited that.
It was all about Kenna's revulsion that kept her from exploiting that. But as a player, you could have just gotten the in. I'll take it. I'll do it. That's an inspiration for everybody. Just realized I still have the huge exhaustion you all got from still written on your cards. That's not right. If you hear people flipping through papers, it's because I just told them that by the time this 6-month downtime activity is done, they will probably level. So they're all frantically deciding what they want to do with that, but we won't need to do that just yet. So in the meantime, let's talk about what happened last session. So you guys are turning out to be pretty popular in the Stronghold after the event. You've got the Thieves Guild has told you to break into this Sir Wallace's place and steal something that he keeps locked up in his food pantry. An interesting place to put it, but nonetheless, that's what you were told. At almost exactly the same time, some of you were given quests from the more shadowy, raspy-voiced individual who you believe belongs to the Blade Shadow, but can't be sure. Gave you a completely different job to go to Sir Wallace and offer yourselves up as extra protection for a couple of weeks and keep things from being stolen from him. Like any good party, you decided you shouldn't split up. You should just do both activities at the same time. So that led us to Sir Wallace's place, where we've met a pretty uncomfortable individual. We'll say that maybe is the best way to describe it. A man who enjoys chaining women to walls as decorations, crushing the skulls of people he doesn't like, definitely eating all the food he could ever ask for, and just in general kind of being a raging asshole over the course of basically everything. That being said, some of you have gotten a semi-good in with him. Nim, if I remember correctly, you're actually working on copying a spell out from one of his other mages.
Yes, roll.
yeah, it was Glyph of Warding.
Yeah, he would have, because we've been a week in this place already of the 3 weeks that you were given that you were told you had to guard it for. So I would say by now he's given you the scroll. You maybe haven't had found time to copy it yet, but he's given it to you by now. So you can write that down in your inventory that it's been given to you. For the time being, the guy didn't ask for any payment because it was kind of with the understanding that you would be using it to help Sir Wallace's defense, and that's kind of who's paying them. So it was just kind of chipped in like that. In the meantime, Lazarus, you've been going around trying to gather some information about how things work here, and you've been getting a general handle on how the outside wall works, and just little bits of information that may help you guys later if you need to make a quick getaway or, anything of that variety. Kenna, as we mentioned, has resisted her temptation to wile her way into Wallace's good graces, mostly because he's a disgusting pig of a human being. So that kind of makes that difficult. Overall, she's been trying to kind of get to know some of the girls and maybe have a little bit of an in there. And Dis has been channeling his darker side to try to gain Wallace's direct favor. He's been dancing for him, sometimes in scantily clothed, attire. He also, he didn't technically kill a man, but he did help rip the dude's nose off and then buried him in a basement and told him if he lives for a week, he can get out and run. So, the guy's not dead, but, Dis definitely, he did the right thing, but he was definitely as mean as he could be about it to try to, get into Wallace's good graces. As I recall, you had just finished with that guy in the basement and were kind of on your way back to Wallace. In the meantime, everybody else has just been kind of doing the information gathering. I also assume you've been doing some of the downtime activities that we talked about because you have been given more or less free leave to come and go as you please as long as you kind of meet the shifts that you've been given. So I assume Nim and Kenna have been working on the laundromat and Lazarus, I assume you've been working on the church and your merchant ties. Very quickly here, you should be able to talk to Philly as well and get some of that crafting done. Sometime within the next couple of days should be right around when she said she'd be ready for you. So I suspect you should be ready to do that fairly soon. Is there anything from the last couple of sessions that anybody wants to cover off as being really key that you need to remember or you want to remind people that, you know, what you're kind of doing or anything like that?
Well, I suppose Nim found an almost route into that room. So.
That's right. That's a good thing to bring up. Nim did do some searching on how to get into the pantry.
Yep.
And it looks like we have a place where you might be able to stuff on the mouse down there. So.
Yeah. A side room that's not used too often, and the floors don't look super secured. All right. Anything else?
No, I think we covered off most of the important things that happened in the last session.
Okay. So here's the next question. Does anybody want to cover, because obviously Dis is going to be coming back to Wallace and there was some sort of promise of a different task for him to be involved in, which may take him away from the house for a little while. So is there anything that anybody wants to cover off, either in the mansion or as a downtime activity that they think has kind of happened in the in-between time, or maybe something they wanted to get together to talk about before Dis might be leaving?
Well, this wasn't really reported.
Yeah. That's another thing, too, is I would imagine you'll probably report back after you talk to Wallace.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines anyway. Okay, we can do that. I guess then we'll pick up with Dis. So, Dis, you have just left that poor messenger buried in the basement. You've come out of that building and you're kind of back on the streets. You've told him to be careful. You've told him to wait a while. You've tried to do it as sneakily as you possibly could. What do you want to do now? Is it straight back to Wallace? Do you have something else in mind?
No, I'm going to head back to Wallace.
Okay. So, obviously, you're allowed past the gate. The people that are running the walls definitely know who you are. It might even be Lazarus on the front gate today.
Wasn't Lazarus the one that let him out the back gate?
Yes, sorry. You were on the back gate, not the front gate. Yeah, so you let him out, so you'll see him on his way back in. He left with a guy that was crying and definitely, pretty rough, and then he just comes back alone.
There's just, an eyebrow.
I'm assuming I have a lot of blood on me, too, from the nose pull-off.
At least some on your clothes, for sure.
Alright, my work is done here.
There's just an eyebrow just goes up.
We'll talk to you later. I head on by after the gate opens.
The gate opens, you walk by. You've had to dance for Wallace quite a few times, both with and without girls. So as you go by the pool area, several of them do wave to you. They are familiar with you at this point.
Give them a little dance step.
Several of them giggle and, kind of go back to their business.
I strut off.
They do try to be frolicking in the pool as often as possible because Wallace can see them directly through his back windows. So just in case he happens to be watching, they want to make sure they're, performing at a level he expects. You walk back in, and as you come back into Wallace's main room, the floor in there and the steps are already clean. Somebody's come in and either mopped it up or did something to clean it up almost immediately. You've only been gone maybe 10... No, because you had him dig his own grave, so probably an hour to an hour and a half. As you walk back in, he just kind of leans back and gives that big... Did it go well?
Yes, he's a lot shorter than he was before.
I'm very impressed with you, Dis. If you're open to it, I have another job opportunity for you. Something a little nicer than just standing in this room here with me, if you think you can handle the responsibility.
Over my time here, what have I seen his general reaction to flattery it has been? Does he just not like it, or?
Open flattery seems to kind of make him wary a little bit, but subtle, like, basically if you walk in, you're like, you're so handsome, he gets kind of suspicious. But if you play to things that he thinks he has, like intelligence and that kind of stuff, he's a little more open.
I'm just gonna avoid that one. Yes, I'm ready for anything you need done.
All right. I have just the thing, and as you might imagine, I'm short a messenger anyway.
I laugh.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
All right, then, Dis. I need you to go to the south end of the market. And when I say south, I mean the south end of the market. I'll give you directions. I'll have one of my helpers give you a route. But there's a certain warehouse building there that I've been running a little art project in. And I'd like you to go take a look and just make sure everything's operating at a level it's supposed to. Now, I don't want you killing anyone there. Several of the people there are quite important, but you can put the fear in them a little if you find them performing below my level of expectations. When you get there, ask for Master Discomfort. He'll show you around.
All right, I'll make sure everything is running as smoothly as you expect.
Good.
What is his name?
Great.
Master Disappointment.
Master Discomfort.
I feel like we're in a Power Rangers film right now.
By the way, if you desire, you can take one of your little friends with you if you think you need the backup.
Sounds good. I'll probably grab one of them. They're an intimidating group.
Some of them, I suppose. Maybe the big lizard. I've never found women particularly intimidating, and I certainly don't find gnomes intimidating.
You gotta watch out for that gnome. He's actually pretty scary when you get him mad.
I'll have to take it under consideration from a trusted advisor.
Thank you. Now, I'll be on the way to complete your bidding.
See that you do.
Yeah, I'll start heading out.
Okay, you're just gonna head out right away?
At the gate where Lazarus is at, was it just Lazarus guarding the gate?
It was Lazarus and one of the other guardsmen, not related to your group. I would say as well, it's probably about 1 PM, give or take. The directions that you've been given by one of his scribes, it's not all that dissimilar to the distance that you had to traverse to get to the sawmill. It's quite extensive. It's probably going to take you at least 6 hours to get there from the center of the market. Where you are now is definitely not in the center. It's much more to the west, so your fastest route would be to teleport back to the center of the market and walk south from there. And that's where the directions pick up from as well.
Okay. I will teleport to the center of the market first. I'll just touch my ring, go back to the market.
Sure, you teleport in. By the way, things have gotten slightly more normal there. The last couple of times you've teleported, within the last week or so, you've noticed not all of the greeters are back, but there is a slow return to normalcy that's taking place. So when you do pop in, one of the greeters does kind of give you the usual, "Hi, welcome to the market rung. Can I help you find anything?"
Thank you. I already know where I'm going. I'll take a step away to get a little bit of silence, and then I'm going to touch the ring, Lazarus and Kenna. I just want to explain the mission, I suppose, Ed.
Sure. I don't think any of you would be particularly busy. It's up to you where specifically you are. Lazarus, I think we talked about you being by the gate, but as for Nim and Kenna, wherever you think you might be, feel free to run with that.
What day of the week is it?
It is a Thursday.
I would be at Wallace's.
Yeah, I'd probably just be perched up on the window, like the...
Keeping an eye on the walls.
I'll just ask through the ring. So does anybody feel intimidating and want to go help out with this warehouse reconnaissance?
Feel intimidating.
Yes, I always feel intimidating.
You're the scariest out of all of us.
Touch my ring reply. I heard women aren't very intimidating. I'm kidding, I didn't say that.
I was gonna say, how could you possibly know that?
Yeah, he obviously hasn't seen you smash people when they teleport with us.
No.
I wouldn't fuck with Kenna.
That's right. Maybe the women aren't so
purposely
intimidating.
Left out that I can shift change.
That is true.
That's true. I mean, that's a helpful thing to leave out
That's true.
when you're trying to be sneaky.
Yeah, they don't want you to know you can turn them lights and shit.
I would say as well, so it sounds like Nim's gonna go with Dis.
Sure.
Kenna, are you doing anything in particular around the pantry, or are you still just trying to talk to some of the newer girls?
Well, I
and
was
kinda...
also trying to get in with the maids, or like the kitchen help people.
They're pretty open. They're a little suspicious of the pretty women, but once they kind of... You've been there about a week. Once they kind of got the impression that, A, Sir Wallace doesn't seem particularly fond of you, and you're not really trying all that hard for him to be particularly fond of you, they were a little more open after that. Kind of definitely shows them that you're not just trying to climb that particular ladder.
So then with my next stage is I want to, like, try to get in with helping them with cooking. Play the whole, like, I don't know anything, can I help you?
That's definitely very easy. Sir Wallace has a healthy appetite, and literally any help in the kitchen they are all for.
Perfect. So I'm going to work my way into the kitchen.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. They'll give you, yeah, especially because you advertised yourself as not knowing much,
Yeah.
they'll give you some of the basic tasks to start with. You know, they give you a big, bushel of potatoes, and they just tell you to get peeling.
Perfect.
Something like that, anyway.
So that's probably what I'm working on.
Fair enough. Lazarus, anything particular you want to cover before we have Dis and Nim run off on a merry band of finding a master
No.
discomfort? Okay. In that case, then, Nim, do you just teleport straight to Dis?
Oh, are you
Yeah.
the
I'm
center?
Yeah, the center square. Just, I'm waiting in the center of the market.
10-4.
By the way, do you cover off your shift with anybody before you leave? Like, are you trying to be pretty careful about that kind of
I'd
stuff?
let them know that I'd talk to the other guy and be like, hey, what's the protocol for, like, I gotta go help my buddy. Sounds like a mission from Wallace.
The one you're there with is just kind of gives you the usual, if it's from the master, you can go, we'll cover.
All right, thanks, buddy. Whoop.
Whoop.
Oh, no, I guess I have to go out.
You do have to go out, because you don't have your rings. Dis would have had to do the same thing. Walk to the gate,
So
get his ring.
how did I know that he was calling me then?
Oh, yeah,
That's a good question.
I'm in your head.
That's a very good
You
question.
imagined it all.
I guess Dis can't do it that way, after all.
I go back, I'm like, wait a second, this won't work. They don't have their rings. What am I thinking?
You can't teleport back, but we can roll back a little.
All right. I'll just walk back.
No, we'll roll back
Okay.
a little bit because I didn't mention for a while that you didn't have your rings on.
Okay,
so
then I'll
that's
go around the
understandable that you
complex.
forgot.
I'll go around the complex before I leave, and I'll ask around where Nim probably is, or I probably know where his normal shift is.
It's not too bad. You can also ask any of the help. Like
Yeah.
the maids and stuff have a tendency to know where everybody is, sometimes to an eerie level of accuracy, but it's helpful nonetheless.
Okay, I'll go up and ask whoever I see around all the time.
Yeah, and we'll say you get to each of them and ask them, and Nim ends up wanting to come with you anyway, so we'll pick up from there.
Okay.
The two of you can teleport out at that stage if you like. You can go to the gate and get your rings.
All right, get your intimidating face on.
Get your
Alright.
get your intimidating face on now for a 6-hour walk.
I don't want anyone fucking with us on the walk.
Those raiders are getting shit.
Nim's just got this face on him the whole time, and poor villagers are just cowering and running into alleyways.
Nah, he has to hold it until he gets the cramps. That adds the effect.
Yeah, when you start to, when your face starts to twitch because you're holding the look too long, then it starts to look really intimidating.
People are scared.
Unless you have anything in particular you want to get accomplished on a 6-hour walk. If not, we'll just kind of hop ahead.
I don't think so.
Okay. You come to the building as it was described in the instructions. It is how to describe it? To say that it is a nondescript warehouse type building is maybe an understatement. It's almost deliberately non-conscript. There's nothing on the walls in terms of a business name or who owns the place. It's basically just two big doors on a big gray building.
Is there any thieves' cant on the walls?
There is a little bit. Most of the thieves' cant might be a little old. It basically just talks about the usual stuff like, if the guards are out, good place to sleep, that kind of stuff. Some of the newer ones are more like, stay away from this building, creepy people here, just things you don't want to have to deal with. So some of the newer symbols do seem to be a little more warning in their nature.
Well, this is ominous. I point out the thieves' cant on the side to him and tell him what it says. I guess let's get in there and see what we can do.
Nim cracks his little gnome knuckles. Several dogs nearby bark.
Remember, we have to act like we're in charge here. Wallace wants us to make sure things are moving smoothly. But I don't know how much we actually want to listen to.
Alright, well...
Gotta get in character.
Yeah, we gotta crack the whip on these fucks.
Alright, let's go! I want to walk up to... As we walk up to the door, I'm gonna kick it open.
They're both, big, double barn doors. So you kick, and it just doesn't budge.
Shit. Alright, well, I did the best entrance didn't open. I'm gonna try to unlock it or something.
You give it a shake, and it definitely feels like there's a bar holding them closed on the inside. Both sets.
I'll just pound on the door with that.
You give a couple of... There's a short delay before a tiny slit about halfway up the door opens up. Who are you?
We're here from Wallace. We're supposed to look over the place. Now let us in.
How do I know you're from Wallace?
I pull out my... Actually, I guess as the slit opened and everything, I pull out one of my weapons. And I'll just put it up to the slit. I'm just going to shove it in there and be like, let us in now.
Yes, it's very intimidating, but it does not tell me you're from Wallace.
Do we have anything else?
The name?
We're looking for a...
Quiet, you. I wanted to watch him struggle.
Master Discomfort.
How do you know that name?
How the hell do you think? You're asking what we're here for. It's from Wallace.
Alright, seems like might check out. Hold on one moment. And you see the slit close. You hear some rumbling back there. A couple of curse words as something big drops onto the ground.
Shit, I'm not doing a good job so far.
Finally, the door opens like a foot, and you hear from inside, "Yes, coming quickly. Do not be seen on street long."
I look around before I go in to see if anybody's watching.
Do a perception check.
Where's my perception? Yeah, I'd be passive for 15.
Seems pretty quiet.
Alright. I'm hidden.
Okay. You go inside, and it is pitch black inside. As the two of you step in, the door is closed. Who has dark vision?
Both of us.
Both of them. Okay. So, not too hard to see. As the door closes, you see a tall man who appears to be a drow elf. He is not quite as tall as Dis, but he is a little, bigger in the body, though that might just be what he's wearing. He is covered neck down in black leather. He has a rolled-up whip on his hip, and 2 daggers on the other side. Kind of crosses his arms. Alright, you're inside. Now tell me what you're doing here.
We're to look over this project of Wallace's to make sure everybody here's doing their job.
Who would think job not being done? I do exactly what told. Give discomfort, bleed a little. Is pretty easy job.
Well,
You saying I'm not doing my job good enough?
I'm saying Wallace thinks that.
He wasn't too happy with the progress report, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, you try getting more than certain amount of blood out of tiny girls. It's not like they have much blood. Trust me, I use whip, then I use daggers, then I use whip again. Still only so much blood.
I'm so glad Lazarus did not
I'm
go.
so happy that it's not there either.
Now, far be it for me to tell you how to do your job.
Good.
But we're going to need to see a little bit of this before we report back to Wallace about any progress. You're going to have to show us around here.
All right, I understand big man is worried about investment. I give you quick tour.
Let's make it a thorough tour.
All right, quick thorough tour. I have to bleed girls in another 45 minutes. All right, follow me. He leads you through some parts of the warehouse. Most of it honestly looks like just kind of your average warehouse. You know, kind of, here we have boxes of stuff I don't open, and here we have bottles of things I'm not allowed to open either. And here we have, and he's just like, he's doing that for the whole main floor. Finally, he gets to a set of stairs that leads down. All right, now we go down to second level. Are both of you all right for vision? I know you're fine, obviously, Drow, but the little men, you see in dark okay?
Yeah, I see in dark just fine.
All right, he's good. The girls, they like as low light as possible. You know, otherwise they see their wounds, they start screaming. It's very annoying. So I keep lights very low. Okay, so here we have a sort of manufacturing area, and there's like 5 big long tables where there's this semi-white, semi-red powder that is just kind of in various stages of bright white on one side of the table and then almost a deep red by the time it gets to the other table. And there are little vials and flasks all over the place. Here's where we make special chalk paint material. Right now, people making it, they are not around. They come after I do the bleeding. They can't do work with old blood anyway.
His hands would be cramped. All the things.
As you can see, we have good amount of material. We're working through it as quick as we can. Blood is definitely limiting factor. You tell Wallace, he give me more little girls. I can give him more weird chalky-like.
Continue.
Alright. It's almost 45 minutes. I suppose I can take you down to the girls. I have to go down there anyway. Alright, come with me. One more level down. He takes you down one more set of stairs, and this entire floor, which isn't huge, like it's not like the same huge size of that first floor warehouse size carried down both levels. In this case, they got progressively smaller as you went. This being a secondary basement, it's definitely much smaller. Inside is an area where someone has stacked cages. It's a small hallway. Kind of looks like maybe somebody used it as like a root cellar. It's not particularly big. Maybe only about 30 feet by 30 feet, if it's that big. And there's just cages down there. There's a lot of cages, but you notice most of them are empty. A quick cursory glance of the room tells you there's probably only about 12 people here in these cages. That being said, all of those people are easily under 14. They're all fairly small girls.
How do they look health-wise?
Most of them are curled up in balls crying in the cages, so probably not great. You'd have to get closer to get a more general look at how they're doing.
Well, let's have a look at how good you've done your job.
All right, I can show you my handiwork. Check out this one here by the stairs. I'm particularly proud. And he moves you over to one of the cages right on the stairs. And there's, it looks like about a 14-year-old girl. She's clearly elvish, of some kind. It's kind of hard to tell with all of the scars and bruises all over her face and the exposed parts of her body. He kind of reaches inside and he grabs her arm and he pulls it out towards the open part of the cage, like where the bars are. And he just goes, look here, see, very good craftsmanship. And he shows you the arm where he's flayed layers of skin off of it so that it'll bleed fairly heavily. It's as much as I can get without killing the girls, which means they would provide no more blood, so I have to be careful.
How many have you failed at keeping alive so far?
I've been doing fairly good. Only lost 2 girls in almost a year.
I want to look around these cages for anybody matching Mary's description.
Okay. Do a... How are you going to do it from just where you are, or are you going to, like,
I'll walk
to each
around
cage?
like, like me and Nim are in charge and we're...
Okay,
looking
if
for-
both of you are doing it, you can do a shared perception roll. Just whoever wants to roll and the other help.
You're better.
Alright, nice help. 20.
Okay.
I went from a 9 to a 2.
You walk around the cages, and by the time you get to the fourth last cage that seemed to have somebody in it, you take a look inside, and it's kind of hard to tell below all the layers of dried blood and ripped up clothing, but it could be her. It's kind of hard to tell. She's breathing fairly shallowly, and she's not looking out of the cage. She's facing the back wall.
Like, what about this one?
And I want Nim. I want to kind of cover off Nim from the guard as I'm bringing him closer, just trying to get Nim to have a closer look at her and her to get a look at Nim if she...
Okay. As you kind of say something loud near the cage, she shivers and kind of tightens up into a ball more near the back of the cage. Yes, that one. I am not entirely sure how much longer she'll last. The last couple of times, the amount of blood has been very low.
How long ago did she come in?
Oh, let's see. No, she was here almost from the beginning. Almost. Not quite, but definitely been here quite a while now.
Better refresh my memory. When abouts did this begin again?
I started about a year ago, but I heard was running longer than that in different location. It just moved here after that location. It just need to move around a little. Not exactly super legal.
So, how many guards have been around?
So far it's just been him.
Measure of this guy's combat ability from watching him so far. Drow to drow.
What would that even be?
Maybe like a...
Could either be like an insight or maybe like an athletics check. Could arguably. It depends on how you think he might do things. If you feel like he's more like strong, I would say almost like do an athletics check to try to gauge his athletic ability. If you're trying to get any more insight in terms of like how dexterous he might be.
Yeah, I'm going to... I don't have my hands right now. I'm just trying to think of how to do this. So how close is this guy standing to me right now?
You called him over to look at the cage,
Yeah,
so
so-
he's kind of about halfway into the room. He didn't come all the way in. He seems to kind of be keeping on a look at all the girls at the same time.
I'm assuming I'd be, because maybe Mary is like down in the cage. I'd probably be kneeling down.
Hers is the second cage, so it's up.
Up?
Yeah.
I'd probably still be kneeling down to get eye height on it, though.
That's fine.
So when I stand up beside this guy, I want to act like I stumble a bit back in towards him and use it as like an acrobatics check to see how well we both dodge away from it.
Sure, that sounds good. Yeah. That sounds fine.
14.
Okay. You kind of go to get up and you pretend to kind of roll your ankle a little bit and you kind of stumble back towards him. And he very, almost effortlessly just kind of like swings his left leg back and just kind of side turns and lets you, if you would have fallen all the way, you would have just hit the ground. But kind of just effortlessly does that side step out of the way. You should be more careful. Floor is not exactly even here.
Sorry, my legs are just a bit stiff.
I'll step a little away.
If you would like, I can finish off tour with a final processing room.
Of course, come on. We don't have all day.
Alright, you follow me, yes? And he starts heading up the stairs.
Make a mark of where the cage is, especially maybe Mary is.
Sure, sounds good. Nim, anything you want to do before you leave the room?
I want to investigate the locking mechanism on the cages quickly.
Sure. In what method are you examining them?
I want to play it off like I'm just examining it to make sure they're secure, but really I want to see like how easy it would be to break.
Okay.
while he's
Do an
doing this-
investigation roll then.
Yeah, while he's doing this, I'll just stand. Like, I'll notice what he's doing, and I'll just stand there with him, like, we're...
Okay.
to check out
Because
the
you
gate.
probably have more experience with locks than he does. I would
That,
assume.
that, and just give an explanation if this guy starts to wonder why.
Sure. Sounds good.
18.
Okay. You kind of lift the padlock up a little bit, and I mean, it looks like your standard padlock. It's probably been put together pretty well from what you can gather. It's definitely not like a cheap lock somebody bought just because they needed a lock. This is a lock somebody knew they'd need to be a little more secure. Are you coming or what?
Of course, come on.
I'm saying that to him, not Nim. Nim, I'm treating as the equal in here, so I want this guy to know that you don't fuck with Nim either.
Fair enough. I mean, you haven't directly given Nim any orders. Alright, both of you follow me. We go to final processing room, which also duels as medical room. So,
As we go in there, and as he passes through the threshold, and we have a little bit of privacy for a split second, I want to try touching my ring,
okay.
and
Let's go Nim. Test.
I just want to test that to see if there's any sort of jelly feeling or that type of weird feeling in the room.
Sure. So he steps up the stairs and kind of turns a corner, and you take that moment to kind of covertly touch your band. You call out to Nim, but kind of at that same moment, he kind of pokes his head back the other way. No. No using of rings inside building sets off all sorts of alarms, very loud.
Oh, sorry about that. I wasn't aware.
If you need to talk to Wallace, you do it after you leave.
Of course. We're gonna have to see...
Never mind. I cancel that last one. That's
Alright, we still good, yes? You follow me?
Yes, hurry up.
Yep.
Alright, he leads you back into one of the rooms kind of off the side of where those tables were on the first basement level. And as you walk in, there are two kind of benches set up in such a way that kind of remind you of like a medical bed, but kind of something somebody threw together at the last minute. There's just bits of wood screwed to a bench. He goes, alright, in here we have final processing over there, which I will go over in a minute. Here we have medical examination beds. When new girls come in, we have to take a look at their... so that we can make sure they're virgins. Only virgin blood work. If you get girl who's been a little whorish, we just kill her and bury.
Of course, that's how this works. Continue.
Roll deception.
22.
Okay. He kind of looks over you, and you get that impression that he was kind of like watching to see what your reaction might be. You get that feeling that he's looking at you pretty intensely, but he kind of seems to nod to himself. Yes, he's, necessary evil. Can't have merchandise that doesn't work.
It's a business.
Alright, final processing room in back through this last door, and he opens the door, and in there you just see these little boxes. They're about this big by this big, about 2 inches by 2 inches, cubed, more or less. And they're made of some sort of clear glass, and inside of each of them is this red powder. He goes, in here, we package into little boxes, and then Sir Wallace sends men to gather, and they do whatever they do with it.
Now, this powder, you're keeping it separated quite a bit here. Is there any problems with it? Flammability, that type of thing? Just making sure this is a safe room for it.
Not that I've been warned about. Is mostly just making sure you don't end up with batches that have not gone through all processes. You don't want them mixing with each other. Then you get an inferior product at the end.
Of course, it doesn't have as much effect, I would assume.
Exactly. You have to add blood, then magic, then blood, then magic, then blood. Then usually is good. Sometimes maybe a little extra blood.
Of course.
As long as it gets about that color. Where are we at? We'll go a little more, but if you guys need a break to kind of think about what you might do, we'll jump back from you for a moment. And we'll jump back to Kenna and Lazarus in the manor. Lazarus, you've been guarding the back gate for the last little while. And you've been kind of keeping an eye on things, and the back alley that goes behind the building, you, being a very astute fellow, have noticed that every once in a while you could swear you catch movement out of the corner of your eye, but every time you look, it's gone. But it's been happening pretty regularly for the last, 30 minutes or so.
Is it like one side and one area or something?
Yeah, it's basically if you're looking straight out the back gate, if you look down the left part of the alley, 2 buildings down, kind of in that corner, you keep thinking somebody's peeking around the corner, but then when you look, nobody's there. But it's definitely happened enough that your heckles are up.
How many times?
Easily 6 or 7 times in the last half hour.
Alright. Is there a hand signal for someone to come in to replace me?
Yeah. There's the whole hand signal regimen for everybody on the wall.
Okay, well, I just do a quick hand signal for someone to replace me, and then we'll just start heading over there.
Okay. One of the guys kind of gives you a quick affirmative back and starts walking. Gives you kind of that questioning eyebrow.
I give him the questioning back, and I'm kind of just going over towards that area.
All right, fair enough. You start walking over to that area, and every step that you take towards that corner, just in your mind, you're like, what's going on here? Is that a person behind the corner? Am I going to have to rough somebody up for this idiot? What's going on? And by the time you get to the corner itself, you're almost afraid to look around the corner to see what it is. Too many scenarios are running in your head, and they're all awful.
Mm.
But you're at the corner. You pop your head around the corner. You look down that way. And there's nothing there.
I immediately look back to where I was guarding, the guy that replaced me.
You look back the way that you were guarding, and everything seems okay there, but nobody's up on the wall. Not right above the gate. Doesn't look like he's maybe gotten up there yet.
No. Not particularly at the moment. So I need a sniffer dog or something.
I need to summon Bloodhound.
I'm going to very quickly, I guess, check for obvious footprints or activity around those corners, and then I'll check one alley or one alley back into that corner where I was seeing it, and then...
Okay, that's fair. Do an investigation check. You're kind of looking for small details. Or survival, whichever's easier, or whichever's better for you, whichever you're better at.
17.
Okay. You crouch down and you take a look there, and right on that corner almost, maybe just about a foot back from that, you see a couple of areas where some of the dirt has been kind of moved around on the cobbles used in the roadways. And you also notice several little, almost neatly piled little bits of this city's version of cigarette butts. Little leftover bits of tobacco paper have just been kind of piled into little piles there. A fair amount of it, too.
Alright, well, I guess I'll just do the very slow, obvious stand around, check everything around me while I'm there. Just what else is here?
That's fair. Do a perception check. Kenna, in the meantime, where are you?
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. Okay. We'll come back to you in a minute. Lazarus, how did you do?
Was I running perception?
Yes.
20.
Okay. You take a look around. You're kind of just trying to take in everything and see if anything else really stands out super obvious to you. You're looking around, and one thing does kind of jump out at you a little bit. You know that Sir Wallace isn't the friendliest individual, and because of that, not a lot of people want to live super close to him, but these are still buildings that can house people, and you know there's a people space shortage ever since the explosion. But nevertheless, the 2 buildings right next to you, the one that maybe somebody was hiding behind and the one just across the street, have been boarded up recently. Recently enough that the wood looks like it hasn't gotten any weather yet. And it just feels odd to you.
Alright, I want to go back.
Okay. You start walking back, you get to the back gate, and you do the usual kind of knock on the door for the back gate, but nobody opens it.
Ah, sure. So, do I see anybody?
No. Or, sorry, nobody at the gate, but, like, if you look further down the walls, there are still the people that are posted, like, the 10 feet by 10 feet.
Alright, well, I give a quick whistle out.
The two guys closest to the gate kind of look over at you and give you kind of the questioning look.
I'm like, where's the dude here?
One of them kind of gives you 1 second, kind of, like, looks down, and then kind of, like, you kind of see the eyes pop up for a second, and he just hops down off the wall.
Alright, well, I guess I just try... Do I wait, or do I try and hop this gate?
Either way.
Alright, I guess I'll try and hop the gate and see if anything bad happens to me.
Okay. Straight athletics check.
Yeah.
And we'll do a dexterity save because there is glass on the top.
So athletics and then dexterity. Athletics is 18, dexterity is 22.
Okay. Pretty good. Lazarus kind of, you, like, use your tail and your back legs to launch you up, and you, because the wall's not super tall and you're a pretty big guy, you almost straight clear it. You end up having to plant your legs and kind of do a front flip over, but you keep enough clearance that your stomach doesn't get shredded on the glass. As you land, a couple of the guards kind of give you a look, but it looks like they know who you are, and whatever may have happened when you went over the wall, it didn't happen.
Okay. And then I'm supposed to immediately start looking around for whatever that guy's reacting to.
You don't even have to. As soon as you land, the guy that you had signaled is running up towards you, frantically pointing at you, and you kind of do the whole, like, what did I do? And then you look down, and the guard that relieved you is lying on the ground. His throat has been slit all the way from earlobe to earlobe. And he's just lying in a pool of his own blood.
I guess that's like an alarm signal immediately?
Absolutely. And there is a signal. You can do 2 short whistles to basically kind of let everybody
Alright,
know.
well then that's a quick 2 short whistle.
Okay. You do 2 short whistles, and immediately the entire wall begins reacting. Guards start moving around. Several of them come down to you. They see what you're what you found, and they start proceeding towards the house.
Mm-hmm.
The girls in the pool begin getting out and getting into, like, the changing areas that they have set up with the kind of, with chairs and that sort of stuff. When you whistled as well, you noticed several people up on the top of the house repeating the whistle. So it seems like it's kind of getting around. Kenna, you're in the kitchen when you hear 2 short whistles, which you understand as well as a warning that somebody's breached the wall. And immediately the girls that you're working with begin just, like, hammering stuff out of the cupboards and just jumping into the cupboards to hide.
Alrighty then. Are the guards in front of the pantry moving?
No. In fact, if anything, they've just gotten more alert. They've kind of, like, widened their stance. They've got both weapons out. Like, they're ready to go.
Okay, well, I'll jump into a cupboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In the meantime, Lazarus, where are you going?
At disposal for the mine part, I'm still at the back gate.
Correct.
I guess I'll do an initial examination of the dude.
Sure. What are you looking for?
I guess, we saw the throat was slashed, so we know we're dealing... I guess Lazarus communicates, or have I already communicated the thing with the building in the alley?
No, you can now, though.
Okay, yeah, so, like, once guards start reacting and coming towards me, I'll give them the full quick scenario of, I saw, like, there was, like, multiple instances of something trying to, like, sort of catch my attention for, like, half an hour, so then I called a replacement and then went to investigate.
Okay. And the guy a couple of the guards you're talking to are kind of nodding, like, yeah, that's what we would have done too, sort of thing. One of the guys that's normally in charge of the wall, kind of gives you a quick, are you in or you out? Are you going into the house or are you staying out? They're going to lock it down.
Out, I suppose.
Alright, then search the grounds. As he says that, he signals something to the people on the roof, and you watch a very bright yellow aura kind of waft down the house and fill in all the edges. Okay.
Alright, and then I suppose we start doing patrols outside.
Exactly.
Check all the bushes.
Yeah. We'll have you do a survival check. We'll see what you come up with. Kenna, in the meantime, you're in the kitchen. You've hidden the cupboards. You're in there. The cupboard you picked is a fairly big one, so you're in there with one of the other cleaning or, like, cooking girls.
Okay.
And as, like, you're all kind of sitting in there, and you can hear the girl breathing, like, really heavily and kind of just obviously very scared.
Does this happen often?
Not very often, but sometimes. And if they can't get to Wallace, they usually just go for whoever they can get.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, the assassins.
Assassins?
Yeah. Sir Wallace is a lord. People like killing lords.
So he gets assassins after him often?
On occasion, yes. That's why you're here, right?
Yep. Sure is. Shouldn't be hiding in this cupboard.
You do see her kind of giving you, well, I guess you can't see dark vision, but like you can almost feel the questioning look that you're getting.
Someone should probably have mentioned assassins at some point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just like, I've been healing, so like, not in assassin mode. I'll just be like, don't worry, that's why I jumped in the cupboard with you, to keep you safe.
She's like, that's, thank God. Could you maybe, like, I'm too scared to peek out, but I really need to know if the potatoes are boiling over. He'll be really mad if they boil over while we're hiding in the cupboards.
Okay, I'll peek. But when I'm peeking, like, where is the cupboard situated in the kitchen? Is it across from the pantry?
It's across from the big ranges that they use for cooking, so it points the opposite direction of the pantry.
Okay, so I'll peek out and look around.
Okay, do a perception check. Lazarus, in the meantime, you did a survival check.
Yep.
15. What did you get? 15? You walk around that first part of the grounds, right by where you'd gone in, and immediately something jumps to your attention. There's a set of bushes that run along the backside of the wall to help the wall on the inside not look so ugly. And there's a spot there just to the right of the gate that has just, like, somebody fell on it, obviously. Like, it's been pushed down, it's been kind of ripped, there's loose leaves everywhere. There's that spot, but then on the left side of the gate, there's also another spot that looks like that. Neither of which were you. You cleared straight over the door.
Okay, so then I'm going to make up whatever the, I guess, signal is to indicate two potential intruders immediately.
Okay, several of the guards nod and repeat the signal, and you watch it kind of chain through the people.
And then from there, I suppose, I'll change the guards to get a tracker, because like these two bushes seem to be the entry points, so if we can track where they went through the house from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can do the same too if you want.
I was just
to
trying,
use your
just
skills.
not very good at it.
Yeah, I just assumed you wouldn't leave it in their hands. Kenna, what was your perception roll?
18.
Okay, so you pop the cupboard open a little bit, and you take a look out for the limited visibility that popping the cupboard open an inch gives you. Everything seems quiet.
Okay, so I'm gonna look back at her and be like, it seems quiet out there, but I need to get out there. I can't just stay in this cupboard with you.
She goes, okay.
I'll shut off the stove when I get out there, too.
Don't turn it off. Don't turn it off. Just turn it down. Turn it down. He's still going to be hungry when all this is over. Dinner can't be late.
All right. So I'm gonna get out of the cupboard. Very, very stealthily, though.
Okay.
In fact,
Roll your stealth roll.
I'm gonna pass without trace myself.
Okay, so you quickly mumble under your breath, whatever you want to for pass without trace. Sneaky. And there's that kind of like, poof.
Plus 10.
Yeah, I know, that's stupid high. So it's gonna be a 34.
Okay. So you kind of poof, and then you open the cupboard, and a very almost formless shadow of Kenna slips out into the kitchen. You kind of pop back up. And we will take our quick break there.
The guards would be like, holy shit!
Wow, what a cliffhanger. I wonder what's going to happen next time. Seriously, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in. If you liked what you heard, share us with your friends. If you hated what you heard, share us with your enemies. Seriously, though, like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll find out what happens to Doubles and Dragons next time.